After 3 consecutive red daily candles above the 200-day moving average for Bitcoin, is Bitcoin preparing for a final move below it before initiating Moon Mission 2021? Is the DXY desperately attempts to set a higher high? And with the SPX once again visiting the 21-day moving average, Bitcoin is definitely on the verge of a ginormous breakout, fake out, or a mommy makeout. And good golly, you do not want to miss this. I'm your host, Dilbo Dirty Diapers, and if you think babies are the only ones that can make a mess, then you haven't been in crypto very long. Absolutely big, guys. We have a lot to be jumping into in this webisode, as in fact, we are on burst watch for Bitcoin. As what we talked about yesterday, very, very interesting stuff, and it looks as though we're inching closer and closer, and my goodness gracious, you do not want to miss what comes next. So you guys on your channel, make sure to hit like, subscribe, turn on these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. And without any further magoo, let's get dumped on. Unbelievable. So actually, within the last few minutes, Bitcoin is having a little bit of a dumpy move, and this is coming along very, very nicely. But this is the thing. Will it actually complete, as we talked about in yesterday's video, guys? So we have a lot of things lining up today specifically that I think will have a huge influence on Bitcoin this week and right now specifically. So get a load of this. We have the DXY actually making a nice, big, juicy green candle today for the first time in about a week, and bouncing right at the bottom of this resistance at the top, support at the bottom box we have here. So DXY, yet again, at this very second, it is not set a new higher high. We had kind of like a double rejection right at this exact same 93.2, and then another rejection at about 93.43 back at the very beginning of April. And so far, at this very moment, the DXY has failed consistently to set new higher highs. And yeah, I mean, at this very second, like I said, still haven't done anything yet. But again, a bounce at the 21-day for the DXY, which could spell some dumpiness for Bitcoin. Not to mention the SPX actually bouncing off its 21-day today, having its first red day in about a week. And yeah, a lot of the times when we come down to that 21-day, we end up going a little bit lower, if not right away, kind of like the following week, as you see many times here on this chart. So also, we got to keep an eye on the SPX in general, because how many days in a row can this thing keep setting new all-time highs? I mean, for pizza's sake, it's setting a new all-time high almost every week. You know, for weeks at a time, sometimes every single day for weeks in a row. It's absolutely nuts. Why? Now this is where it gets big. So as we see Bitcoin straddling the 200-day moving average consistently for about over a week, Bitcoin is now on its 4th red daily candle. Will we get a red daily candle close? That is up for debate. That is yet to be seen. We need to pretty much be above 46K to avoid that. However, we have been in a little bit of a dumpy downtrend. We've been talking about this. Yesterday's entire video was about this setup and about continued downside, which I still think obviously is the case. I said within a week. So I think probably within the next week. And I'm very bullish on Bitcoin over the next 4 months. However, especially because we have this, MACD finally crossing bullish here. Again, a lot of great things coming, but I think in the immediate short term, we're going to have a retest. And again, I've been saying that for a while. I think it makes the most sense. But yeah, if we take a look even on this 6-hour chart, guys, this is our very last. We've been talking about these for like months. These 5 green zones are like the biggest support and resistance ranges. Right now, we've been struggling to breach this final one that I think, once we break free from that, it'll be pretty quick to new all-time highs. But you can see we spent a lot of time right at the top, and we spent a lot of time right at the very bottom of this as well. Actually, ever since August 9th, when we initially found resistance there. And that, I believe, is exactly the only reason we're kind of hanging on here. Because if we look at this chart, besides the fact we have the 200-day, which is probably the biggest reason that we have not seen a drop just yet, if we're going to get one, okay? Keep in mind, there are patterns that are very bearish, that just in the short term, where we could see a move down to the $40,000 range, like we've been saying. Those are very apparent, and we have the bearish divergence even on the daily chart. Okay, you can see that here with the price continuing high here. But obviously, it's not going to be super easy to break through. One, because we have one of the most important moving averages, the 200-day, right exactly at where we are right now, right about 45.5. So that's a huge level. We have to take into account these macro moving averages. So we have a huge level of support right there. Not to mention, this is exactly, I mean, as I'm recording, that's where the price exactly is right now. And we've had this range on here for like 3 months. This last level of support and resistance right here, or support now is about 45.5. So as you can see, we've dipped our toes a little bit outside of it, even just within the last few hours. But yeah, this level is hanging on so far. At this point, we've actually come out of this potential rising wedge, bounced at this level we're talking about right now, came up to the very top, got rejected there, and now we came back down and are visiting here. So again, very hard to time these moves, but you would think if we're going to get a breakdown of this, it's probably going to occur this week, sooner or later. Again, these things can take time. Keep in mind, I think that obviously the reason that we haven't quite broke down, if we're going to, is because we have the 200-day moving average, which is just very important. We're talking about a pretty substantial pattern. I mean, this pattern's been pretty much forming for a couple of weeks, okay? And we have this clear ascending level of resistance and an ascending level also of support, which is what forms the potential rising wedge. But even though that is a multi-week pattern, we have a very, very strong moving average right here, stronger than the 21-day, stronger than the 50-day, 200-day moving average. So very important. We have not seen it break down yet. Obviously, the momentum is pushing it there. We do have the bearish divergence. We see the declining volume. We see a lot here. We've been setting lower highs, and we have been getting actually lower lows even on these very short time frames as well. So again, like I said, nothing to panic about. But if in the short term, before we breach the mid 50s and go up to new all-time highs, I think it is very likely we could see $40,000 to $40,000 again. But keep in mind, I still think that the bulls have way more strength than the bears. That doesn't mean the bears can't pull off a nice little dump and a retest. That's absolutely bullish anyway. But overall, I think the bulls clearly have more strength. But yeah, in my opinion, how I have things set up, it looks as though Bitcoin is right on the edge where we could see this breakdown basically at any moment here, which I personally think would be down to this level right around the $40,000 to $42,000 range, with the very lowest wick, I think, being like the high $38,000 range. But again, we have to wait and see. I think it'll play out over the next few days. We have, similarly for ETH, that would be down to about 28 to 2,900, 2.8K to about 2.9K if Bitcoin did dump, also where the 21-day is. So again, keep in mind, we have a lot of bullish stuff here. I mean, even for the entire cryptocurrency market, the 21-day is around 1.75 trillion. Currently, we're at 1.93. So a dump here is absolutely anything but bearish. A dump here is just a broader part of bullish consolidation. And for anyone looking to maybe even trade some of these smaller alts in spot, Phoenix has a huge selection here, which is absolutely insane. They offer both spot and contract trading for pretty much most of the big coins you would want to trade. And guys, before we get back into the TA there, I just want to mention as well, so we saw Ted Cruz kind of backing up crypto with this infrastructure bill last week, and I wonder why. Do you think he potentially has some investments in crypto? Well, Texas apparently is potentially going to be a huge Bitcoin haven, a huge place for Bitcoin mining as well. So hundreds of miners will soon be housed in a 320-acre mining facility in Dickens County, where they will work day and night to solve a complex series of algorithms. So pretty much setting up Bitcoin mining. So Texas's power grid is deregulated, means customers can choose between different power providers, and providers are thus incentivized to provide lower rates. And guys, this is huge because keep in mind, earlier this summer, governments in China began shutting down Bitcoin mining as the country works to develop its own centralized digital currency. And that led to a decrease in Bitcoin hash rate and a lot of different changes, and it contributed absolutely to the drop below 30K to about 28K. So this is good in the long run. It was bad for a few months in terms of short-term price action. Obviously, we saw that. However, guys, this is amazing long-term. One, because we're getting more decentralization. Hopefully, we're going to get more and more Bitcoin mining spread out across the globe and not just in China, where I believe it capped out at about 60% of mining was in China. Hopefully, that number, I'm sure, has gone down over the past few months because of this. But yeah, it's just good. And especially if the US has a favorable outcome with regulation in terms of not really stunting crypto's growth, that's not only good for crypto in the US, because crypto is not just in the US, it's good everywhere. So even if something horrible would happen in the US, it would be bad for crypto short term. But crypto is not just in the US. Crypto is everywhere. So even though something bad or good could happen to crypto long term, I don't think it matters too much. But yeah, especially with this, and if we have other politicians that obviously are getting interested in Bitcoin. There's a lot of new powerful people over the last year who've become interested. We get more and more people like that. That is good. If we get people to not regulate crypto until they actually know about it. Okay, I'm not against regulation of crypto. I'm against people regulating crypto that don't know anything about crypto. Okay, I think it should be a clear, obvious requirement that if you're going to regulate something, you should do some research about it. Okay, I mean, that's like a take that a 3-year-old child would even be able to understand. Okay, and so these power rates could end up, leading this to be a very good situation for Bitcoin in Texas and in the US. But basically, okay, we talked about all the potential pullback levels and all the reasons why yesterday we're looking for this. But yeah, Bitcoin's just hanging on by a thread right now. We have to wait and see because, again, we're battling the 200-day moving average, which is a strong moving average. We do have the bearish divergence on the daily. We do have a very potentially normally bearish pattern. I believe like 70 or at least 3/4 of the time it does break down. You can still get a break up. This is not guaranteed to break down. But yeah, there is that strong possibility we could see this breakdown here. Well, so if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn those notifications, these absolute time-sensitive alerts. And without any further ado, that's it for me. Bye-bye.